What's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of Bullets, Barbells, and Barbecue. I'm your host, Brett. Chris isn't with us today. We got Matt Double Deuce here. We got Tanner the Head. We have our show partners, Elite Nutrition Omaha. Check them out at elitenutritionomaha.com. Use code B3 at checkout for 10% off. Go to the store, yell B3.
Get a free shaker.
Also, we have Rosewood Block to make the best cutting boards in barbecue, fully customizable. Check them out at rosewoodblock.com. Use code B3 at checkout. And if you like what we're doing, you're being educated and entertained, go ahead and like, subscribe, share, set us on auto download. We're on all major platforms, YouTube, because we're just trying to make you a little less shitty every day.
And honestly, download it, because all these companies, they go on downloads.
Yeah.
And while it's a pain in the ass, because all we really care about is educating you and you listening.
Yeah.
But you know what? It helps us out if you download it.
Yeah, and trying to make you a little less shitty.
Yeah.
I mean, neither one of these show
personally?
partners pay us. Tanner doesn't give us a fucking thing, you know. I mean, Noelle does.
She's gonna fucking murder you. She's gonna come in here next week and she's gonna murder you.
That's all right.
If she does make anything again, it's going to have extra spit for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
She'll be like, "This one's for Brian."
That's fine. We can just refer to each other as Noelle and Brian from now on. That's totally fine. Today we're going to talk about working out for like longevity in life.
Yeah.
There's been plenty of studies. We've done a podcast before about being elder and lower body strength being a huge factor, because you don't want getting out of your recliner to be a maximal effort lift and just drain you of any energy.
Right.
But we'll let Tanner kind of go with that.
So, just coming across a ton of studies that, so there's two things. We have longevity of life, and then we have quality of life. And to me, the longevity of life matters less than the quality of life. I would rather go like 100 miles an hour and get to 75 or 80 and then just die real quick. We're really good at modern medicine about keeping sick people alive, right? So you have type 2 diabetes, you have heart disease, you have Alzheimer's, you have cancer. We do a lot of things to treat people and we extend their life. But I want, like, what can we do ahead of time to help battle those chronic diseases and then keep us healthy so we can walk upstairs, we can live independently, we can still do things in our retirement, we can go hike, 65. Can you go on a hike? Can you go to a beach? Can you fucking go to an airport and carry your bag? Can you do just basic things? And that's about the quality of life. So one of the studies that I found super interesting, especially with you, Brett, is that Alzheimer's, the risk of Alzheimer's, like your risk of Alzheimer's goes down as your grip strength goes up. Okay. And there was no top end stop to it, which meant that there wasn't a place where it plateaued, like grip strength of X, and it just flatlined. It was, if grip strength goes up, your risk of Alzheimer's goes down. Now, is it a grip strength thing? I doubt it. I would guess it's a weightlifting thing, right? That when you're grabbing weights and you're lifting things and you're exercising, that you're going to have a stronger natural grip, which means like the weightlifting is what's lowering that risk of Alzheimer's. If you exercise for 92 minutes a week, okay, so 3 30-minute sessions a week, and you went from nothing to that, you lower your chance of all-cause mortality by 14%. Okay.
Now, is that absolute or a relative difference?
That's going from nothing to
Right, but so
92 minutes.
that 14%, and so this is something I think we were talking about yesterday, like when especially studies and people who are trying to like push something, they'll say like, the one that I read about was like something about, the red meat one that came up, like red meat increases your chance of heart disease by like 200%.
Okay.
Right? Okay, cool. 200% sounds fucking terrifying. You're like, oh my God, 200% increase? But that's your relative change, right?
Yep.
The actual chance of heart disease, say, is like 0.01%.
Because it's the amount of people in the study. So
right.
like,
well, no. So
yeah.
if your chance of developing heart disease right now, we'll just say is 5%, right? So you're 5%. A 200% increase would be doubling, right? So you go from 5% to 10%.
Yep.
So 10% still high, right? So that's but a lot of times what they're talking about is if you go from a chance of like 0.01% to 0.02%,
Yep.
technically that's a 200% increase.
But you're
terrifying.
still, yep.
so that's your relative increase.
Yep.
Your absolute increase is 0.01%. So the actual change relative to like your absolute change is so minimal. And so that's why I was asking. So when you go from 14%, is it like we had a chance of 10% and now we're at 11.4% kind of thing, or did it go from 10% to 24%?
So I guess I don't know 100% how they measured it, because we're all going to die. Mm-hmm. So you have 100% chance of all-cause mortality if you live long enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
we haven't made anyone that made it out yet.
Yeah. So we're all going to die at the end of the story. I think what it was the actual percentage based on age ranges.
Okay.
So if you went from like X amount of people died between 60 and 65, you had a 14% less chance of dying in that range.
Yeah.
With exercise.
So if that group had a 30% chance of dying in that range,
you had a 16.
It comes down 14% down to 16. So that's like your absolute change. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that lines up
now
with
at some point in time, if you're 105 and you start exercising, like you're probably still going to die. Yeah, at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, like you're going to die. You know what I mean? So, it was based on age ranges.
Yep.
Another interesting thing was that strength. So if you're in the top third of strength for your age, you have a 74% less chance of all-cause mortality. Okay? What I also thought was interesting is that if you're in the top quarter of VO2 max for your range, you also have like a 70% less chance of all-cause mortality. So to me, it wasn't just strength. It was also aerobic. But you could do either one, or you could do both.
But now, what if I eat the red meat? Does that cancel it out?
No.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, you're going to die sooner. Yeah.
So
because if it's a 200% chance minus a 74% chance, I still got
how much percentage
126% chance of fucking dying.
I have a negative 50% chance at this point.
Yeah.
So Methuselah, you can just call me.
So it was just one of those things to where there's nothing that you can do in your life. There is not a diet. There is not a medication. There is nothing you can do in your life that will affect the quality of your life or the longevity of your life as much as exercise will. Mm-hmm. There is absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm. But do you think the diet? Because if you just ate like a disgusting asshole and you weighed like 400 pounds, that's going to affect your quality of life and your lifespan. So I think you have to say there's nothing that you could do positively towards your body.
Right. Okay.
Like a good diet. Because you could eat the other.
If you measure the.
You could go the other way.
You could do a lot of other shitty things. I'm saying there's nothing. There's nothing positive you can do. Yeah. It's the most positive thing you can do.
If you ate like a normal human, working out is still going to be.
If you work out 5 hours a day and smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day, I mean, you might be canceling shit out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So if you go the other way, if you try to.
Right. Because like there's no limit on how bad you can eat. There's a limit on how little you can exercise, right? You can go down to 0.
Yep.
And that's your floor. But your ability to go negative from bad diet is essentially infinite. So you can't undo that. But your ability to go positive from a good diet is substantially lower than your ability to go positive from
So all the stuff Tanner was saying was just there's no positive thing you can do that's more positive.
Yes.
But the negative part, you can do a bunch of that.
You can do a ton of negative.
Yeah, you can
make your life expectancy and quality of life terrible.
Yeah, you can do that stuff, and that's been huge. Like that, and I read more into that the Norwegian 4x4, not the sex act, the actual like exercise protocol.
Yeah.
And was digging more into kind of what was around that, and the study again was about 50 people. A group of, I think it was like 200 or 300 folks who were in their early 50s, did a physical protocol. And these were all untrained individuals, but without any like outstanding comorbidities. So like they didn't already have heart disease. They didn't have diabetes. They were otherwise generally healthy, just untrained. They did for 2 years. They put them on an exercise regime that had them accumulating upwards of 5 hours of high intensity exercise, some of which was the Norwegian 4x4 protocol once a week. And that was just, again, the Norwegian one is 4 minutes at as high of an output as you can manage
For that 4 minutes.
4 minutes. Not like you go 100% for 30 seconds, then you slowly taper off for that 4 minutes. You want to keep, if you can only go 70% effort for 4 minutes, then you go 70% effort for 4 minutes.
And I think kind of the average like I've heard about that is for like average 40-some-year-old male was like a 10-minute mile.
Okay.
That was kind of in that range.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
So that would be average.
some
There would be
okay.
people that are,
Yeah.
but like if you're just kind of getting started, maybe, and
Right.
you have a watch and you're trying to pace some things out and see whatever.
Right.
If you're in that 10-minute mile pace.
Right.
you
Like
know.
it's going to take you a hot minute to figure out like how, because like if you're untrained, you're going to find some level, you're going to go for a while, you're going to hit that wall, and then you're just going to fucking tank.
Yeah.
And so you need to recalibrate. But so that was only part of what they did, but there was huge improvements by adding that. Otherwise, it was the rest of the time consisted of, 30 to 40 minutes at 60 to 90% output, 3 or 4 times a week. And this population, they were specifically studying cardiac input or cardiac output and cardiac health, and they reduced their cardiac age, so the age at which their heart represented, by on average 15 to 20 years.
And that was based on VO2 max?
They measured it on VO2 max, but they also like physically measured the heart.
Okay.
Like wall thickness, how much fluid stuck around the heart, muscle density at the heart, like all these physical attributes of the heart. And the heart was actually like physically looked like a younger heart. So if they took that 52-year-old heart and they looked at like your average 52-year-old heart versus your average 30-year-old heart, like these people's heart looked like that 32-year-old heart. Like, so it physically changed the heart as well as improved all these other aspects.
So like Nicole and I were just talking about this yesterday. I'm like, you're not going to like me, but I think we need to train our VO2 max once a week. Like with that, it was basically the Norwegian 4x4. It wasn't called, but it was that same almost exact thing. Because, so let's just say that you're 42. Mm-hmm. Okay. You're 41. I'm 40. I'll be 45 next month.
God, you're so old.
I know.
I'll probably remember your birthday though.
I remember yours 2 days late.
Whatever, Dick.
Huh?
Whatever.
You're not on, like your birthday's not on Facebook or anything.
I know, that's a real friend.
I know. So I remembered it. I was like, oh, fuck. Sorry, it is your birthday. I forgot to wish you happy birthday. But you're on my calendar now. You forgot to wish Norman a happy birthday, and his is the day before yours.
Yeah, it's fine. Matt didn't tell me happy birthday either.
No.
No, I did.
I'm terrible. Unless it's in my calendar. I don't know. When I switched phones, I lost all my birthdays. I just haven't put them back.
Yeah.
That's right. It was on Monday.
But I still love you.
It was on Monday.
Yeah. I told you
I'll
on
get you next year.
I told you
I'll get you next time around.
I told you on Tuesday. I was only a day late.
You did.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than fucking Matt.
That's true.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. Yeah.
I mean, it's a low bar, but you know. But like training that VO2 max. So let's just say that in our 40s, that going up 3 flights of stairs, like you can do that relatively easily. Maybe you're a little out of breath at the top. Okay, between 40 and 50, you're going to lose about 10% of your VO2 max on average. Every time from between 50 and 60 is going to be 15%. Okay, and every decade after that's going to be 15%. So if you want to be able to walk upstairs at 75, like you better fucking be able to run upstairs now. Because you're going to fall off 25, 35% over the next 30
But is that
years.
based on if you're not doing anything at all?
That's just on average. Like if
in
you're
general.
not training,
But
your
is
VO2
that,
max.
Yeah, but was that study done with people who have worked out their whole life or people who have never? Because I think if you're still working out all the time, because also remember the stronger, that's where we talk about lower body strength and the other one. The stronger you are, the less oxygen the muscle demands to perform a task, right? A lighter task. So if you're 60 years old and you're still squatting like 300 for triples,
You're probably okay. But that's also VO2 max, right? But you can do things to train your VO2 max, and at some point in time, you're going to need to move, whether it's a bike. And honestly, like I know people talk shit about a bike. To me, a bike is just safe. A bike or a rower, you have a really hard time hurting yourself on. You know what I mean? Compared to running. Like if you want to run, great. If you can run, but like I just don't think going out and running to start some of these things is the smartest idea, because there's just too much room for injury, especially as you get older. Your balance isn't as great. You have ankles, you have hamstrings, you have quads. Like we have a lot of things. So like if you want to start running a little bit, that would be good. But if you don't want to run and like, well, I'm not going to run outside for that. Well, okay, then get on a fucking bike, because you know what? You can't hurt yourself on a fucking bike. You know, get on an elliptical machine, get on a rower machine, get on some things that help us get moving towards that, and then try and bump it up. But I don't think it's a bad idea. I just think my overall thing is, part of it is that, like, I'm feeling my mortality a little bit. Like, I don't like we're in that range. We're halfway through. Okay, we're on the back half. In all likelihood, we're in the back half of our lives. Like, I want to live as much of it healthy as possible. I also have a very limited genetic like family tree knowledge, so I just don't know a lot of it. So,
is it because the Neanderthals died off so fast?
yeah, it was the
It's all
Neanderthals.
fossil records.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's all just etched in stone.
yeah.
Those tablets broke.
I tried to go talk to the gorilla at the zoo to see if he knew anything. He didn't. So
Harambe probably did.
Harambe did. He was wiped out because he knew.
On your bike thing, though, I'll throw in, I think that as maybe you get older and you're riding the bike, but I do think walking outside and keeping your proprioception of like uneven surfaces and walking is probably good as well.
Yep.
You don't have to run, but I think walking, like, find the shittiest sidewalk in your neighborhood and walk on that. So you know what I mean? So you're used to walking and picking your feet up and having the hills and the ups and downs of sidewalk, just to work on your proprioception. If you don't know what proprioception is, just your body awareness of what's around and how your body is performing.
And I think that's huge, right? That's a lot of just that.
Yeah. So I think you're right on the bike thing.
Yep.
But yeah, I do think as you get older, you should.
So the thing, like, wait, think about your life. Your 95% of your life is at a moderate pace. Okay, like, you're not doing a ton of
medium pace.
Yeah, a medium pace. You're not doing a ton of things that require a lot of explosion, right? On a daily, like, not for periods of time. Like, if you go to pick something up heavy, you know, even like something like a rock in the backyard or whatever, you need it for a second, but it's not for an hour. Okay, so if 95% of what you're doing in life is just at a medium moderate pace,
Thank you.
then, but we need to, like, don't lose that 5%. Like, don't lose that. I need this 5% to run upstairs, to save somebody, to just get from point A to point B because I have to quickly, or to pick up something heavy. Like, don't lose that 5%, right? Keep that capacity there. I think that capacity has to be there with heavy lifting. If you want to do a bunch of reps, cool, but like, one exercise when you lift every time should be fucking heavy.
And it's all relative. Don't get stuck on old numbers.
Yeah.
It's just max effort for that day. I mean, that's even what it was at Westside. It was always still max effort for that day. You might not break a PR. It might, but you're doing maximal effort for that day. Don't hurt yourself, especially as we get older.
Yep.
But still, train for max effort for that day.
And that's probably one of the smartest things I've ever heard. It's for that day. It's like, just because your PR is X, we don't always come in the gym feeling 100%. I don't know. I would say we come in the gym feeling 100% is a unicorn.
Well, yeah, and especially like if you look at like competitive, if some people are really good meet day lifters, and you might plus or minus 5 or 10% on meet day. If it's the plus side, you're probably not going to use that. You're probably not going to hit that in the gym every day, because
right.
how you respond to the atmosphere and the hype and all that stuff around you.
Well, almost all of my biggest lifts have always been in competition.
Which, I mean, I think most of the time it
Yeah.
is / should be based on how you respond to the crowd.
Yeah, based on whether you're nervous, like how your nervous energy comes out. You know,
Yeah.
Sometimes people, buttholes pucker and they get super tense. But if you're for a lot of people, it's like, okay, well, I don't want to look like a fucking idiot in front of all these people, which is my main thing. Like, I don't really care about winning. I just really hate to look stupid and lose.
Yeah, the whole failure's not an option kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now the consistent training and moving as you get older is huge.
And that's not to say that diet's not important. Diet's obviously important. It's not to say that other things aren't important. But like, for a lot of people, the majority of society sits in their ass, right? The majority of the society doesn't go to the gym 3 times a week. I don't know what percentage of the society does, but I know over half don't. Right. So,
and I mean, that's probably up a lot, actually, as far as people who go into the gym in the last probably 10 years.
I don't know. I think more people have found it, but I think equal amount of people have gotten late. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like there's been more of a shift. There's not as many 2 to 3 times a week gym people. It's like you're either all in or all out.
But you know
what's everything else we were talking about.
Right. You know what's crazy as far as gyms go? Like when I first started working at 24 Fitness, a buddy of mine was my GM, and I was like, "Are they ever going to go like into Iowa?" Because he was in Iowa for a little while. He lived in there, and he goes, "Well, you know, they did the studies, and statistically, people in Iowa don't work out." And it is kind of funny because you look at like we're obviously in Omaha. I mean, Omaha, Council Bluffs metro area, right? Council Bluffs. I mean, it's all together basically.
We're claiming Council Tucky.
Look how many gyms are in Omaha. There's a lot.
Yep.
I mean, not as good as ours, but there's a lot. Now look how many gyms are in Council Bluffs. Let's not count YMCA's.
Okay.
I know those are Y, and there's a lot of Ys in Omaha. Let's look at everything outside of a YMCA, and now go to Council Bluffs.
Yeah, there's like 2.
I don't even know if there's 2 anymore. I don't. You know what I mean? Like it's just crazy how there's. I mean, I could just now in my head, I thought of like 7 to 8 gyms in Omaha in my head. I bet there's
Probably
not
like 7 CrossFit gyms alone.
Well, yeah. Well, there's Genesis owns like fucking what do they got 7 or 8 locations?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if you go into, it's just so weird. You go across the river, and there's just not. And that's nothing against Council Bluffs. It's just very strange.
Yep.
You know, now I'm sure you get over further towards Des Moines, that number probably picks up. You know, then as you go,
a lot of people from Council Bluffs probably come to Omaha, but
yeah, no, it's just crazy though. Like, but you know what's crazy is people will come from Council Bluffs to work out in Omaha, but people in Omaha will
not
cancel
cross
their
the river.
membership. Well, no, but they'll cancel their membership at a gym that's 3 blocks further than where they're going. You know what I mean? Like, so it's very weird. It's very weird workout demographic, and I don't understand how that. You know what I mean? Like, or and then you get into like the small towns and like working out, like people are like, what? I just like go throw hay or whatever the fuck. Like, but yeah, it's very strange. Like when he said that, I was like, no, that's not true. And then I looked at it, I was like, nope, he's right. They're right. So, and I don't know what that divide is. And if anybody knows the answer to that, I would love to know in the comments. Cause I mean, the 3 of us know. I mean, we can all agree that Council Bluffs, the number of gyms in Council Bluffs,
pretty low.
Yeah. It's I don't know. It's very strange to me. Yeah. So it's
even some of the big cities I travel to for work, there's not that many. Like in Philadelphia, where I go the most, in the city proper where we're at, I mean, there's I think 3 Planet Fitness, maybe 4, and like 2 or 3 other gyms that maybe pop up. And that's a huge populace there because you're in like downtown, tons of living space, not just like the business center, but there's tons of living space there.
Wasn't Omaha something like gyms and tanning salons and something like that per capita has
Restaurants.
and restaurants? Yeah, like the most out of like any state per capita.
We love to work out and eat in Omaha.
In that order sometimes.
Or eat and then work out.
And then eat.
And then eat again.
Yeah. So, well, yeah, I mean, the moral of the story is stay active. We've talked about it before, but it's not, don't quit being active.
Yeah. Well, it's just crazy, all those numbers. It's like in their meta-analysis, which I like because they're huge swaths of data,
right?
That encompass a large population and a diverse population, and they can break it out by age groups.
Right.
But I just think like no matter where you're at, it helps. So if you're 60 and you've never worked out, it still helps. Mm-hmm. Right. If you're 60 and you like you can still come and start and you will have benefit, you know, like, and sometimes I think some of those older guys who start a little bit later, they just don't have all the miles on their body. And so they can get super strong for their age.
Yeah.
You know, because they're like, well, they don't have 20 years or 30 years of squatting on shitty knees. Their knees had a little less mileage on them. Like,
yeah. And it's fun. It's something else to do.
Yeah.
You know, you guys got anything else on that?
Yeah. Move your ass.
Yeah. Just get out there and do stuff, man.
Don't quit moving. And like I said, and still get outside and walk around.
Yes.
Yep.
as you get older, especially like just the, like I said, the unevenness, and then keeping your balance. Like, and if you can't get outside and walk around, do balance-based things. And if you don't know things you can do, try and stand on one leg.
Then close your eyes.
Close your eyes. And if you're real advanced on the one leg when you're at home, take a towel and fold it up and then stand on that.
Yep.
And that will change your balance. You know, doing single leg things, your balance, your stability, and like trying to prevent you from falling, because getting up sucks. So, but that's what we got for you today. Like, subscribe, share, and we'll see you guys next time.